Welcome back, fellow problem solvers. Mr Oosthuizen here, John East. Thank you for tuning in. So today we're talking about algebra. What? Algebra. You know that word, right? You've heard it. You've got different connotations to it, different myths. So that's why we are going to start with the basics, with basic operations with algebra. Stay tuned and enjoy. Fellow problem solvers, hope you're doing very well. So today we're starting a brand new topic called algebraic expressions, and we'll focus on the language, the basics of this. Think about it. The moment I ask you, please express how you feel, we are talking about a language, right? We are talking about words. Now in mathematics, we are using expressions in algebra and any other part of mathematics. So yes, for our basics, we need to think about the words. If we say, for instance, the sum of two numbers, what are we talking about? We're talking about addition. You need to add them together. Or I had 7 apples and it increased by 4 apples. That means we are adding, there's an increase. Or even if I say, okay, Peter had 3 more oranges than Susan, and Susan has 7, then we know Peter has 10, so 3 plus 7. Or then plus. The same with subtraction, the difference between. Like what's the difference between 11 and 7? Then you know 11 minus 7 is equal to 4. Or a decrease. We had 12 cars and now it decreased by 2 cars. That means to 10. Or less than, or even minus. The ones less used is the product of. So in other words, if we say, okay, what is the product of 3 and 4? We are talking about times. 3 times 4 is equal to 12. And quotient is another term for division. So the quotient between 12 and 4 is equal to 3. So we can work with it as follows. So let's talk about a few basic rules. So after we've done the language now. So rule number 1, or something to consider. We do not write down 1 once it's next to an unknown. For instance, x. We don't need to say 1x. We can just say x. This means the same thing. The same with x to the power of 1. X to the power of 1 is just the same. It's equal to x. Remember, 1x is equal to x. We don't need to show that. Okay, the second rule is the moment we use letters, we always write them down alphabetically. For instance, a term that has 3 unknowns, A, B, and C, can you see that we've written them down alphabetically? Let's say we would say X and Y. You can see it's an alphabetical order. So just to recap, we do not write 1. And secondly, think of the alphabet. Thirdly, we write the number before the variable. Okay, so that's our third one. Number before variable. So for instance, 7 apples, it makes sense. Or 8 cats. So anything like that, it's always the number before. Fourthly, the order with multiplication does not matter. As an example, 2 times 3 is equal to, well, 6 units, right? But 3 times 2 is also equal to 6. So order doesn't matter with multiplication. But it does matter with things like subtracting and adding, right? And division. But for multiplication, order does not matter. And then fifthly, multiplication. Again, we do not show the multiplication sign. For instance, if I said x, y, what it actually means is x times y. The same with something like ABC, as you've seen there, already written at number 2. ABC, it means A times B times C. So sometimes we also can use a dot. That is also multiplication. So we do not show the multiply. Okay, so these are our basics regarding algebraic expressions. So just to get us rolling, and remember, this is part of your literacy, right? So hopefully this helped. Have a lovely day and stay tuned for more.